Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to your new Jackrabbit Illustrated B-Team spin-off show.
Scared money don't make money.
That's right, folks. Scared money don't make money. The spin-off show from the B-Team with Ben and Brendan making their picks against the spread just like old times, with the addition of Alex Kenkel and his computer model that is featured weekly on JackrabbitIllustrated.com. As usual, the B-Team and all Jackrabbit Illustrated podcasts are live on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and Twitter pages, along with being live on the FCS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Also, if you don't catch us live, be sure to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any major podcast outlet in between. As always, the B-Team is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. If you need a tractor, utility vehicle, construction equipment, zero-turn motors, parts, service, and more, there's always a Kubota dealer near you with 8 locations across the great state of South Dakota. Stop in today and get yourself into some orange equipment. And we would also like to thank our segment sponsor, Cubby's Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings. If the Jacks are out of town, you need a place to watch them. Head on down, get some Chislic cheese curds, beer, and burgers. And now, without further ado, scared money don't make money.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We are excited for the first edition of Ben losing to Brendan. I'm sorry. Scared money don't make money.
Very funny.
I'm gonna revel
Jim
in
knows.
that all year. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All those big words from when we started doing these picks. Oh, it's just delicious. From when the segment used to be called Fade Brendan Get Rich. I remember those days. Good times. The lore of this show is amazing.
Glad to be here. Love to hear that intro. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a year where I redeem myself.
Yes, we do have to add. We do have another title spot or another segment sponsor that we will be adding to the intro this week. I've been out of town for 2 weeks. Haven't been near any of my gear to put any of that stuff together. But Blue Tide Car Wash and with a bunch of locations all over South Dakota now. They're starting to really get everywhere. Starting a new location in Mitchell as well. A bunch of locations in Sioux Falls, one in Brookings. Get the best shiny car you can imagine. But they are also our new segment sponsor on the Scared Money Don't Make Money show, helping us make that money that we donate to the JFPA. So thank you so much for jumping in with us here, Blue Tide. And it makes having this show as an extra show worth it, right? I guess.
Absolutely. They're a family-owned business, too, so that always beats giving your money to the big guys.
I should have gotten another chocolate milk because half gallon didn't.
Doesn't last 2 shows.
No.
Barely anybody commented on it. They're just so used to you chugging chocolate milk at this point.
The only time people comment on it is if it's not there.
Yeah, it's true.
And they're like, "You're a failure. God, you suck. Get the chocolate milk out."
So, as some of you know, this is a show where we go through at least all the Missouri Valley games. If there's not enough of those, we'll pick some other important games in the FCS. But there are plenty this week. We've got 11 games on the FCS slate. And we do have the beloved JIAI segment returning. I had a little bit of time to throw together some fun there. So let's get started with what's, in my opinion, the least important game of the MVFC slate, which is USD facing Northern State. This spread's going to be massive. Alex, what does the good old Kenkel model say?
Did you want to roll with the one you came up with, or are we going to use that as the spread?
We should put that misnomer on some of these lines we're putting out here.
Yeah, so normally we'll do the show on Thursday where we've got actual lines from all the books, although there wouldn't have been a line on this one anyway with a D2 school likely. But we're doing this Wednesday because I'll be traveling tomorrow night and people got stuff going on. So
there's 3 games tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, and there's games tomorrow night. So that's not normal. So I grabbed the lines that are out there. I used Sagarin to do the rest, except for USD Northern State. That one I made up on my own. So the line that I made up for that is minus 55 for USD.
So the model is going to go ahead and say 44. So the model is going to take the Wolves and the points. I'm inclined to agree. I guess we should preface that this year. When you guys come up with our punishment, I'm going to be eligible for that this year because I normally talk twice. Yeah. So if the model loses or I lose,
That's how confident he is in the Kenkel model.
I gotta do whatever dumb stuff you guys come up with.
I have screenshots of that too, in case later
Yeah.
in the year we're like, oh no, it was just me, not the model, just me.
I won't back out. I hope it's not that bad. I want to back out. Ben can wear a hot dog costume. I can do anything. Anyhow,
if Tom Neiman named your model, it's pretty good. I think you'll be fine.
Right. So anyhow, it's going trash puppies, as Dustin Helton and Seth Meyer say, by 44. So it is going to take Northern with the points. I'm inclined to agree. Just because that's 55 is a lot. They're going to have to want to score 55. I know they've been hyping up. If you read some of the media stuff, my Sioux Falls Live subscription, I get some of that in the Crossfire, and I get bored enough to read it occasionally. They really want to be behind their offense this year because they're going to have to. They lost so much off that defense. But they'd really want to have to be unsportsmanlike, I think, to get it to 55. So I'm going to take Northern and the points on that too. Northern Wolves cover in front of a whole bunch of fans dressed at seats because they magically went from 2,500 to like 300 available tickets like in the span of an hour this afternoon.
It's magic. It's USD math. I'm not spending much time on this game. Northern was dog water last year. And USD, even though I don't think they necessarily be as good as some are claiming they will be, they are still a solid, good FCS team. They're going to beat the brakes off them, but I don't think they're going to put up 55. I think they call off the puppies early. So I will take the points with Northern because that's so many points.
Well, apparently I screwed up making this line because I'll take Northern State as well. Must have been a little too high.
I don't know. That it's a miserable game to pick because the spread's so high and they're fully capable of doing that, and it's if they want to.
It could easily be 60-6, and it's going to be right at the line. So,
yeah.
This depends on how early they call off the dogs, or if they want to make a statement. Whatever statement you can make against Northern State, I guess. But anyway, so we're Northern State across the board there. Before we go too far, we do have a tweet question from our friend of the pod, Tanner Castora.
Oh, we got it. He tweeted at us. All right.
Yeah, not related to the picks we're making tonight, but something interesting we can just touch on a little bit here. He says, would like to hear predictions on who outside of the Dakotas and Montanas has the best chance to sneak into the Natty. We can just give our quick answers here. We can go into this a little further once we see some odds come out. But
yeah,
there's a game on the slate we can segue into with mine if you want me to go last, unless you guys are thinking the same team.
I'm sure I'm thinking the same thing as you are, because that one is kind of that one I've been on, I think, since the start of the year.
You guys are thinking Villanova?
Nova.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they're the best shot for a non-Dakota Montana team to make it. If one of those teams stumble and end up having to go on the road there, I think as of right now, Nova looks like the saltiest team.
There could be someone else random that's good. There is every year, whether it was Furman in Albany last year or Incarnate Word in 2022. There's always that team that kind of rises from the pack of some of those mediocre teams. But if you're going to – that sounds completely wrong. Obviously, they're not mediocre if they're like making the semis or Frisco, but traditionally mediocre teams that rises to the front. But as far as other blue bloods outside those four named, it feels like it has to be Villanova. Personally, we'll get into it more when we break down the Youngstown game, but they bring back a lot.
Yes, from a team that was salty, especially on the lines. So, I'm not a believer in Chattanooga, Seth. They have to prove it to me. Chattanooga has had many seasons of being very, very hyped by our dear friend Kevin Marshall over on FCS Nation Radio, and they've shit the bed all the time. So I'm not hugely in on Chattanooga until they show me.
So interestingly enough, I just quickly Googled the FCS championship odds.
We don't talk about Long Island around here, Dustin.
We've got SDSU is plus 125, which is wild for championship odds. NDSU is plus 300, Montana State plus 320, Montana plus 400. Outside of that, you've got USD sneaking in at plus 2,000, Albany at plus 3,000, and then Villanova at plus 3,000, and Idaho at plus 4,500. So Villanova's up there. They have a little more confidence in USD, and Albany over Villanova. But
I think they'll both be good, but I don't see them that good this year. I don't know. I think they'll both be solid. They're not contenders, personally.
If you're looking from a strictly national championship perspective and odds of making it, I think USD absolutely should be lower than Villanova, even if you think they're a better team than Nova, because we all know one of the keys to making it into a national title is home field advantage in the semis, and USD is not going to do that. And I think their ceiling is winning against NDSU at home or upsetting SDSU on the road. They're not going to win both of those, and they're not going to get a top 2 seed doing that. They'll get probably the 3-4 seed doing that. Whereas if Villanova, you have 2 of those Dakota teams, or one of the Dakota teams, one of the Montana teams stumble, and Villanova sitting with an undefeated record, say they beat the brakes off of Youngstown State. They just have a better path from that standpoint, I think, for them to get a high seed. And that's why I think Nova should be is a better value than USD if you're looking to throw some cash down on that.
So I've got go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, to throw Darren's comment up here and while looking at the odds as well. Villanova's kind of interesting. New quarterback, Jack Lane. Chris Hammond, once again, friend of the show.
Idaho?
Yes, sorry. Great radio, Alex. Just showing comments and not addressing them. Yeah, Darren asks, how are the Fighting X going to be with all the transfers? I'm going to kind of hold out judgment until I see them play a few weeks, but they definitely could be sporty. I know a lot of people, including friend of the show, Chris Hammond, big Idaho guy, friend of the show, Stone Lebanowitz. They are both on the Jack Lane train. I don't have any reason to think Jack Lane won't be good, but I just want to see it first. And then the other one no one else is talking about that jogged my memory seeing him up here is Sac State. Just with that unbalanced Big Sky scheduling, you never have to play all the tough teams every year. And if Caden Bennett's healthy, that could be a dangerous team this year, personally.
Yeah. Yes. And the other thing is, too, it's not just that it's unbalanced and you miss the top team. Like, sometimes it's like the CAA. Villanova doesn't have to play any of the top teams in the CAA. In the Big Sky, you can miss all the top teams in the Big Sky. It's not, the MVFC is unbalanced and you sometimes will miss one, but you're not going to miss the 3 top teams. So just throwing that out there.
The other interesting one is the UND sliding in there at number 10 on the odds list.
Is there a way to get the?
Can I fade that? Yeah. Can I short that stock? There's no way.
Other Missouri Valley teams, you've got Southern Illinois about 13th on the list, Illinois State 15th, Youngstown State 7th or 19th, I guess. Northern Iowa for some reason is up there. That about rounds out the Missouri Valley teams anyway. But yeah, interesting. Thank you, Tana, for the question. And we did not plan on talking about national championship odds, but good time to do it before the season starts.
Yep. Start of the season's good shot. I will say to Ron, he was pointing out the 59 SDSU and Albany semifinal game. Villanova was a better team than Albany. Full stop. That's not a comparison to make. And if we want to talk about semifinals and Brookings and what they mean in the next year, then we can probably look at Montana State, hypothetically speaking, if we want to play that game. That's happened before as well. So I don't think that's the best measuring stick using a different team, but that's just me.
We got the Kumquat chiming in again. He says UND is my favorite to win it all. Y'all are haters.
Yeah. Haters going to hate.
The Rev says UNI has a better shot than SIU. Ron Lowney says UND might shock the Grizz. We'll be picking that one in a second here.
No, we won't.
All right. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
We play next week or the week after.
We do have
Montana plays Missouri State.
Oh, yeah, they play Missouri State, not UND this week.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. We've got an interesting matchup. This one outside of NDSU and SDSU, I think, is the most interesting one. Youngstown State going to Villanova. And the spread on this one is Villanova -5. I went last. I'll go first this time. I will take Villanova at home to cover 5 here. Alex, what's the model say?
Model says Wildcats by 7.3, so it's going to agree with you, Ben, and so will I. The uncertainty of quarterback with Youngstown, they literally did not announce their starter till today, the day before the game. Tyshawn King is a good back, but we saw firsthand in the quarters last year how good that Nova front seven is, and they bring a lot of guys back on that. Watkins is back. He's going to lead that offense. I think, these teams just played in the playoffs last year, and it wasn't particularly close. And to piggyback on that, I think Youngstown is maybe about the same team, and Nova theoretically is going to be better. So why would it not be that much further of a blowout? I think both the spread and the model, quite frankly, are low. If you would have told me blind to put a spread to this, I would have said like 12. So like I said, model and I are both with you as well, Ben.
Yeah, I'm taking Nova as well. Ron, I forgot that you had said Villanova and Furman for your dark horses earlier, so I apologize publicly. Since I said that publicly, I should apologize publicly. I'm going to take Nova. I just don't think the experience is there yet. Maybe if this was towards the end of the year, then maybe I'd take Youngstown State after their season to broken in with a new quarterback. I'm not doing that first game of the season against the seasoned squad at their place. So give me Villanova in that one, and that is going to be one that will be brought up all year about why the CAA is so good, completely ignoring that the rest of the CAA is pretty much dog water. But just prep yourselves for that one, folks.
I like it. Same across the board on that one too. Then we've got Indiana State going to Purdue. Purdue is a 33.5 point favorite. Alex, go ahead. What's the model say?
Model says 30.75. Trees are going to cover, but just barely. I disagree. I'm probably not as informed on this game as I should be. I don't know a lot about Purdue, but I do know a lot about Indiana State relative to the average college football fan, and they are going to be not good. I know they're excited about Gavin Screws finally getting to lead the offense, but there's nothing else there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know enough to say I would confidently go out and bet this game, but I am going to take Purdue just because Indiana State's just been in such a nightmare situation now for the last couple of years. They're back to being the sycamores of old in history, past and present, and being terrible. So I will take the Purdue Boilermakers on that one.
I'm going to agree with Rev here. Purdue by 157. I think Purdue covers. I think they win by 40. First disagreement. If we all stick together, the model will lose.
And I lose either way.
I know that's the best part.
We got to show unity and make Alex lose. We've had a side text thread here, Alex. You're screwed.
That's true, Brendan. If you and I pick the same from the rest of the season, well,
that would be total collusion.
All right. We've got Valpo.
Then we end up tying for last, and then Alex gets to pick a punishment for both of us.
Yeah, that might not.
No, that's not good.
That might backfire. Next, we've got Valparaiso going to Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is a 26-point favorite here. I will take Northern Iowa in this one. Valparaiso is real bad.
Yeah, give me the Purple Panthers and the Prairie Raid to cover those points there. I think they'll put up a bunch of points because Valpo sucks. It's an ideal first game for them. They're doing a whiteout, by the way. This is proof that it's not that hard to get a whiteout done at home if you want. So you and I can do it. We can do it. Ha. Let me say it. Yeah. Out of context, that sounds funny.
Yeah. Model says purple kitty cats 32.6, and I will agree. We're going to go flush on this again.
Boo.
Panthers are going to cover. Valpo's not just a Pioneer League team; they're a bad Pioneer League team. Even you and I can cover 26 points against them.
Who'd have thought we'd be saying even you and I could cover?
Right.
That's wild.
Next up, we've got Missouri State going to Montana. This will be an interesting one, seeing how Montana bounces back this season. Montana's favored by 14.5. What's the model say, Alex?
Model is going to say the Bears cover at 12.94.
They're both Bears. Oh, you mean
actual
Missouri State
Bears.
Okay.
I maybe kind of a hot take here. I kind of agree. Montana's offense was really bad until they figured out Clifton McDowell last year. And I just don't know enough about Logan Fife to feel like Montana can confidently put up a ton of points. And Missouri State's got some good offense. I don't necessarily think this will be close, but I could see this being like a 30-20 type of game.
Yes. I'm with you on that. I think the only thing that would make this so Montana covers is if Missouri State just completely crumbles at Wa Grizz, but I don't think they will. I mean, they played in Fargo, they played in Brookings, they played in there. I mean, I'm not going to claim that those are the same as Wa Grizz, but they do have experience in those environments. And like you said, if there's one thing Montana proved last year, it's that Bobby Hauck is incapable of properly selecting a quarterback. It should not have taken 5 games to figure out Clifton McDowell was the guy. So I have no faith in their offense. I mean, God, they had a D2. I mean, granted, a solid D2, but Missouri State's better than a solid D2, and they struggled with that team because they couldn't move the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Missouri State to cover. Yeah, like I'm with Dustin saying that they shock the world and lose by 3.
I'm going to have confidence in Montana that they don't want to start slow again this year, and I'm going to trust their defense. I will take Montana to cover. I don't like the 14.5, but I'm going to hope they win by 17-21. So yeah, go out on my own there.
Well, yeah, remember, Ron, when we say we're picking them to cover, we're not picking them to win. We're just picking them to lose by less than, what, it was 14?
14.5.
Yeah, we're picking them to lose by less than 2 touchdowns. So if they lose by 10, they still lost. I don't think Missouri State's going to win, but I think it's going to be way closer than it should be until they get their offense figured out, which has kind of been a struggle occasionally for them at the beginning of the season.
Next up, we've got Murray State going to number 11 nationally ranked Missouri. That spread is set at 46.5.
Many points.
Don't know what to take here.
Many points.
Real tempted. I'm going to go Missouri. I think Missouri's too much for Murray State, and they're going to be overwhelmed. I'll take Missouri to cover. I'm
going to take Murray State I'm going to take the points. I mean, they're not going to be close, but I think they'll get a touchdown or 2 at the end, and it'll end up being 50-something to 14 or whatever, and they'll cover. So I am going to take the Racers to cover.
Model is going to say Mizzou's going to win by 49.8 and cover the spread. I'm going to go with Brendan. I think Murray State gets some sort of weird backdoor cover, and this game is on Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats come next Tuesday.
Yes.
Like
and the Murray State horse will be doing laps back home.
All right. It is time for JIAI. Let me pull up that screen.
Kumquat, that's funny. The disrespect. JIAI. Oh, we can't have any comments on screen for this. This is.
Can you see?
This is art.
Oh yeah, you can see. You can see. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got the Jackrabbit getting into the cowboy theme. Just giving the whole state of Oklahoma the boot.
He may have grew up outside of a nuclear reactor. Or in a nuclear reactor
3 years.
for 3 years.
He did grow an extra ear. Don't worry about that. We've got the crying OSU cowboy. Always good. The reason why Brendan won't be there, he's touring the city of Pittsburgh. This is Brendan.
Not by choice.
Doing that.
It's funny if people think it was by choice. I was like, yeah, I wanted to check out Pittsburgh. It's I've heard stories of what a beautiful town it is.
This is the Kenkel model doing the interview, the TV interview during the national championship last year.
Oh, that's the perfect punishment for Alex. Is if we make the natty, he's got to dress up as a robot with a big, stupid cardboard computer monitor head
that says like Kenkel model on it.
Yeah, it says Kenkel model.
And he has to like act like a robot and talk like a robot the whole time.
Walk around.
Whenever we tell him to, he has to act like a robot and say, "I am the Kenkel model."
Walk around bar to be named Saturday or Sunday. That could maybe happen.
Yes, sir. I've only one gun. He lost his other one. This is a picture of how hot it's going to be down there. As the
Can
Oklahoma
you close
stated.
the video editor thing?
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know when Microsoft. As the Oklahoma newspaper stated, it's going to be so hot and humid down there that we are not going to know what to do. 30% is just the chance that we'll have of surviving, I guess.
I thought it was humidity.
Last but not least, I have a guessing game of what you think this JIAI represents.
I know, but I don't want to go there.
Oh yeah, I do know. Yes, I do. Our favorite Oklahoma State podcaster.
Oh, yes, it rhymes with.
He did say we have good stuff.
He did.
Yeah, that's mean.
No, if anybody wants to be entertained, go listen to the most recent podcast by Locked On Oklahoma State. It was pretty entertaining.
For context, Dallas did nothing but clip his own stuff, which in one of his pods he said, "I'm sure SDSU fans are going to clip this," and posted it on Twitter. And the guy got super mad about having his own stuff clipped.
He said, "Please clip it."
Yeah,
I listened to that clip. He's like, "Please clip this." Dallas's clipping posts, he puts on there writing, "Okay, wish granted."
Yeah. So that was good. Anyway, we will move on. We've got 5 more games to go through here. We've got UND going to Iowa State. Iowa State is favored by 28.5 at home. Ooh.
Model says 26.85, so it's going to pick the effing Hawks to cover, but just barely. This is a real interesting one for me. As a lot of you do or don't know, Iowa State's kind of my second team. My family's originally from Western Iowa. Both my siblings and my brother-in-law are all Iowa State grads, so I follow them quite a bit. A lot of people down there are big on Rocco Brecht. They think he's really going to turn a corner this year. I just don't know that I buy it. At the same time, we all know UND has got a ton of question marks, and Jack Trice is, if you've never been there, it's actually kind of a surprisingly tough place to play. All that rambling said, I'm going to agree. I think Iowa State wins big, but I don't know if they get the offensive output to cover in that grand of a fashion.
Give me Iowa State on that one. It is UND on the road with their third quarter offensive coordinator in one offseason, and which is wild. Losing their quarterback and then losing their backup quarterback and losing starting tackle and everything else. I don't see them putting up much of a fight in this game. So I usually am big take the FCS one team guy, but not in this one. I think Iowa State's going to cover, and I think they cover comfortably. And because I said all that, I'm going to get backdoored in this, and I'm going to be pissed.
Do you have a hamster in your hotel room?
Say, are you
No.
coloring?
Oh, I've got a bottle cap I've been spinning on the. I have.
Oh, good. That makes for good audio.
I have ticks. Man, I'm the guy who had to get a boom mic because I was rattling the table, tap my hands. Like I fidget.
I went back and forth on this one.
bad.
Brendan, you said Iowa State's going to cover.
Yeah.
And Alex, you said UND, correct?
Me and the computer are taking the effing Hawks.
Gotcha. I did go back and forth on this one. Iowa State has struggled in the past with some Missouri Valley teams, specifically Northern Iowa, but I think it's a little more related to the in-state rivalry there. I'm going to go with the turmoil that UND's been having, and think I'm going to take Iowa State to cover and start off their year right. Next, we've got Southern Illinois going to BYU. BYU is favored by 14 in this one at home. I'll start this one off. I'm going to go with Southern Illinois covering here. I think BYU is not the BYU of old. They had a tough year last year, and I'll take Southern Illinois here.
What was that line?
14.
14. Ooh, that's a bold one. Yeah, I'll go with Southern Illinois in that one to cover. I don't know if they win, but I'll take them to cover. I don't have a lot of insight on this game. I'm torn because I don't know if it's going to take them a little while to get going this season or not. A lot of faith in Nick Hill there at SIU, but against my gut, I'm going to go with the Saluki Dogs.
Another clean flush here. Model says 12.6, so it's going to take the Frilly Dogs, and I will agree. Rev says SIU's QB issues. DJ Williams, for those that don't know, former Murray State quarterback, former OVC Offensive Player of the Year, back when Murray was at the OVC, is the quarterback for Southern Illinois. He transferred. And they also got the leading running back and wide receiver from Merrimack and Tennessee Tech, respectively. DJ Williams' biggest problem has been health issues. You wouldn't think week one he's going to be hurt. So I think Nick Hill gets that offense gelled. And I think, once again, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think Southern Illinois can hang around to keep it within 2 scores.
I love Rev and Ron yelling at each other in the comments. They have QB issues. No, they have QB issues. Your QB issues. You're tall.
Then we've got Illinois State going to number 25, Iowa. Iowa's favored by 22.5 at home. What's the model got in this one?
Model is going to take the Hawkeyes. Thanks for Zach Glazier and the Seabrecht brothers, Hawkeyes. Tangent. Wearing my Go Jacks Wrestle shirt right now for those that are audio only. But anyhow, Model's going to say Hawkeyes cover. They're going 26.96. I'm going to disagree. I think Illinois State's going to be really good this year. I don't have any reason to think, especially when Cade McNamara is getting called out for being horrible at practice, that Iowa's offense is going to be good enough to even score 22 points. So Model is going to take Hawkeyes to cover. I'm going to disagree. Illinois State's going to be good. Iowa offense still bad. We see another 7-3 game. That's not my actual prediction, but it will be low scoring and Iowa will win.
You know what this line is? This line's a spicy meatball. This line is a spicy meatball. This is the bad line of the week. I'm taking Illinois State to cover because Illinois State might get 3 points, but I don't see Iowa scoring 27. So give me the Redbirds to cover in this one. I think this is a bad line. I like this a lot. I'm going to go ahead and take the Redbirds to cover in this one. They're not going to win, but I'm going to stay on it. I'm going to ride with the Redbirds on that.
So I think that Iowa finally got a new offensive coordinator. They're going to want to make a statement, and I think they're going to put up a bunch of points. I think Iowa's defense is good enough to stop Illinois State. I think they're going to know that the Missouri Valley is good from some experience they've had in the past, and I will take Iowa to cover in this one. Now we are going to the game.
Drinking that Hawkeye Kool-Aid over there.
I know, right?
Say, those that don't know, Ben's a little bit of a closet Hawks fan.
I have too much Iowa gear in my.
It's gonna be. They're gonna put up a lot of points this game.
They're gonna do it for Brian.
They're doing it for Brian.
I feel like it's a reasonable take. Anyway,
but it sounds funnier when I say it.
Right. It's better if we make fun of you for it.
It's not unreasonable at all, but I just felt like poking at you for it.
We go to the big game tomorrow night. There'll be a lot of eyes on this game. NDSU goes to Colorado, and Colorado's favored by 10 at home. I am going to take Colorado in this one. I think that their offense is going to be too much for NDSU. I don't think that they're going to be able to slow them down. I think with Wisniewski out, that hurts them a lot. And I think Travis Hunter's too good. And I don't think NDSU is going to be able to put up enough points. Cam Miller would have to have the game of his life to be able for them to stay in this game. I think that Colorado pulls away by at least a couple scores towards the end of the game.
What is this line up at again?
10 now.
10.
It's 10. Yeah, I would like NDSU to win this game, which makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit, but Colorado annoys me. And all the silliness about it, but I'm going to take Colorado to cover with Wisniewski being out and then their fullback being out. I mean, they're not just losing two stud players; they're losing two
of their best,
their emotional leaders on that team, and you need those guys in this game to carry them through. I don't see it happening, Darren says, but Cam Miller's the best quarterback in the FCS. If you believe what's written on the toilet paper, I guess.
Those were PFF guys saying that too. It was just supposed to be like the most analytical.
Well, Cam had the best PFF grade, so that's
which is so stupid.
But whatever. Cole says, drinking the prime Kool-Aid, fellas. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I think if NDSU would have been, if you'd asked me this a month ago, I'd probably take NDSU in this game. But with injuries they've had through camp, I just don't love it for them. And I would prefer they win just because it's better for the conference and everything else. But I don't see them covering in this one. I think that the points are going to get put up too fast on them and they're not going to be able to recover.
If PFF's model says that Cam Miller is the best QB in the FCS, they've got a problem with their model.
It doesn't though. That's a separate discussion. I can go on for now. It does, but he has a better PFF grade. PFF grade does not equate to better.
I know PFF sucks. That is, PFF was made for baseball guys who like football and they want to be able to look at a stat sheet and tell them who's good instead of being able to watch a goddamn game with their eyeballs and go, that guy's pretty goddamn good. He's better than that guy who threw for 12 yards in a playoff game. He's probably not the best guy in FCS. And ran. Anyways, we're at 40 minutes, so let's go.
Model says Water Buffaloes win by 4.46. So it is picking NDSU to lose but cover. I'm going to kind of be contrarian to you two and agree with the model here, even though this is, really offensive and embarrassing to be compared to for some people evidently, but line play. I think Colorado's going to throw the ball all over the yard and score. and Colorado's front seven is going to play on roller skates all night, and NDSU is going to score. And it's going to be, even though Matt Entz is gone and Tim Polisek's there now, we're going to get a vintage Matt Entz one last time, doesn't know how to manage the clock at the end of the game situation, because that's just baked into Cam Miller's DNA at this point. And NDSU runs the clock out with the ball down like 4.
Yeah, I do agree with Cole on this part. With the amount of public that is on the -10, that's taking Colorado to cover. It really does feel like it feels like one of those games that happens all the time, where when the public's super heavy on one team, that means the public's probably wrong. I would not be surprised to see NDSU cover. I would love to see them cover and win. Like I said, if it wasn't for Wisniewski getting hurt, then and I don't know if Vegas goes deep enough on these lines to understand the impact
they do.
he makes on the
stupid
defense.
Not to.
Yeah.
I mean, they go so deep that you can, this year, they're listing lines. Like, for example, this week you'd be able to bet SDSU against USD. They're listing lines for teams that don't play each other.
I got to throw Seth Meyer's comment up here real quick, just because I got a personal story from it. My grandfather passed away about a month ago, my stepmom's dad, and we used to go down to Vegas to visit my uncle all the time, and some may or may not know, my uncle is a corporate attorney for the Bellagio. And so my cousin and I used to run down there, play dice or cards for a little bit. And that was always what my grandpa would say as we were walking out the door is, just remember, boys, those buildings aren't so big and your uncle doesn't have a job from people winning all the time.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yeah, that is a fact. All right, so now we are to the main event. We've got SDSU going down to Oklahoma, number 17 in the national poll, Oklahoma State, and they are favored by 9.5, up a little bit from the early spread, which was like 8.5. What does the model say on this one, Alex?
Model says Pokes by 10.4, so it is just barely going to say the Cowboys cover.
Screw you, model.
I think it's like one of the first times it's ever picked against the Jacks, but I will disagree.
Burn it down.
I will disagree. I'm not going to pick an outright victory. I think Dallas, I'm not on the A team, so Dallas didn't really steal my thunder. But I was right in lockstep with Dallas. If we're going to win this game, we need to steal a possession, whether that's via Tucker Large or Dallas being an interception or Tucker Large punt return. But even if that doesn't happen, I think we keep it close enough to make them uncomfortable the whole way, even if we don't win.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that, but I'm going to take Oklahoma State to cover. My heart is screaming to take SDSU. It is screaming for me to take the Jacks in this one.
But it also knows the record of you picking against the Jacks.
My head is going, how about this? In my head, this feels like the TCU game when we had Jake Winicky and those guys, where it will be a super close game, and they have the weapons where they'll, we'll be down by like a score, by a touchdown field goal, and then they're going to go up by 10, maybe 14 in the last 10 minutes of the game to kind of ice the game away. Off of a busted play. Maybe the defense is tired if Ollie Gordon's been, grinding on us all game. So I'm going to take the Cowpokes in this one to cover.
Well, I am going to disagree with you. I think for the reasons that I stated on the B Team podcast, as far as, the way that we're built, the way that they're built, what they want to do with the run and how we can stop the run, the way that Alan Bowman was playing at the end of the year last year. If he comes out and lights the world on fire, great. Good for him. But I just don't think that at this point in his career that he's going to change that much. So I'm going to stick with the fact that we'll have 1 or 2 interceptions. I think it'll be a close game either way. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if anywhere from Oklahoma State winning by 10 to SDSU winning by 10. But I am going to obviously most of that spread is on with SDSU covering, so I will take SDSU to cover the 9.5, and I will take SDSU to win by 3.
Attaboy. I like it. Calling the shot. Pat
Pat-
Whitty's asking, what's
Plus-
the money line?
The money line for the Jacks is plus 290. And if you want my advice, there is a line for the Jacks, depending on the book you're at. The one I checked was SDSU winning by 1 to 13 points is like plus 410, which I like a lot because I think if we win, we're not going to win by a bunch.
Great.
So, yeah, that's my take anyway.
And here's my biggest take on this. If we win this game, the rest of the FCS is going to just collectively go,
Zach and Coach Fred said that on my Zach goes to Coach Fred. He goes, "Can you imagine what happens if they do win this game, though?" And Coach Fred goes, "Everyone else should just redshirt whoever they can."
That's great.
Fred's funny. Yeah, no, OK State is no joke of a team. I think this SDSU team is better than some people think it is this year. The thing that is the concern to me is the new offensive line ready for this? We saw what happened in the Iowa game. That was Gus's first game, if I remember right.
First game at center because he had moved into guard late in 2021, but it was his first game at center.
And are the new guys on the line going to be able to hear each other make their calls and be effective in that sort of environment if it does get real loud there? That's probably my biggest concern. I don't think we're going to be able to shut down their offense, but I think we'll be successful in slowing it down and putting up enough points to keep with them most of the game. Like I said, I think it's going to be really similar to that TCU game was.
Yeah, I think the unknowns are the biggest concern, obviously. I'm going to trust in the recruiting that we've been doing. I think that we've had some real deep recruiting classes lately, and I think that we've got guys in the wing waiting to shine. I'm going to trust in Jimmy. He's been talking about these guys and how they're just looking real good and going to come in and fill in with no problem at all. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll be down there tailgating it up. Alex, are you going or no? I don't remember.
No, I could have if in hindsight I knew the game I had Friday. That's a long story, but my wife and I will be in the Black Hills with some friends and our kids, obviously. They will be there.
Nice. What's your internet reception going to be like out there to watch the game on ESPN Plus?
So we're going to be getting into town. Kids' nap time's right about kickoff because that's my wife's like, well, we can stop and watch the game because most but Beth's a huge Jacks fan too. And I'm like, actually, kickoff's about kids' naps time. So if the game's close, we'll wake the kids up and wait till the game's over to go do stuff. But if the game's not close, whatever, we can go out and go hiking, whatever. So we'll see. But I'll at least get to watch the first bit of it here.
Do we know how many tickets we got for allocation?
No.
I don't.
I don't. I haven't heard. I don't know that I've heard about anybody that wanted tickets that didn't get them.
Right.
I also know that you can get them for a decent price on the secondary market. But yeah, I don't know the number.
Yep. I do know it'll be packed. I think the normal amount that maybe the team gets is 300 to 500 tickets, I think is the pretty normal allotment for the visitors, for parents and, dignitaries and all that stuff. So I would probably guess around that. And then the rest of the SDSU fans just figured out, how to get down there and all that jazz. Glad you got the tent fixed, Chad, for book club next week. Let's go. I'm fired up for that. You guys are going to get to have your
that's assuming we don't
down there.
That's assuming we don't break it down in Oklahoma.
Yeah, don't do that. Well, we have another one on the way. So through a comedy of events and errors on not our part, we now have another tent on the way as well, just in case. So, but we will still be in the book club lot. I think this is important probably for us to get out here. I don't know if this got put out in any of our other shows. The book club lot for tailgating coming up, I'm getting this out now, is no longer a $10 pay lot. You will have to park by the dairy bar. You need the Jackrabbit Club pass to park in by the greenhouse and book club parking lot. That is new this year. They changed it, and that I'm not thrilled with the timing when they came out with it. It was pretty late, in my opinion. But if you want to park there, you now need to do that. There are options with the pink lot. You get 4 parking spaces for $1,200. They have a gravel RV lot as well for tailgating in the Sulphur next week, obviously. They will have 9 RV tailgating lots north of the backyard and kind of in the gravel up there. And that's $300 for the year. No, they told me that it is a new thing, is what they said to me.
Max and I have done that for 3 years. It's not new.
Well, then I was misinformed, but it'll be $300. It's $300 for the parking spot. You cannot just drive in there with a car and use it. You have to have an RV to use that lot, or a large trailer or something. You can call the ticket office about that, and they'll connect you who you need to talk to. So, are you trying to say it's plus $10? It's not plus $10.
No, if you have a Jackrabbit Club
it's
pass,
just a Jackrabbit Club pass. So you don't need to pay an extra $10. But they will have $10 parking in by the dairy bar when you first pull in, like when you would normally go to the library lot. There are the parking spaces by the dairy bar. Those will be $10, so it's still a close-ish option. And I have heard they are trying to see if they get facilities to let them have tailgating on that intramural field, that grass intramural field between the library and on the way to the dairy bar there, which I think would be sick.
That'd be a great spot.
Like the old track?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, heck yeah. That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it? I mean, if you have rows and you could purchase spots there,
line
and
people up,
you'll have kids run up
going.
and down playing football, kids playing catch. It'd be awesome. But that is my quick little thing on that. Ben said he would leave at a half hour. Anyways, it's still 52 minutes, and Ben's a liar.
We are going to see what we can do to make these as short as possible this year.
I think we have to stick to 45 minutes because the 30-minute thing was before you added JIAI.
If I say 45, then it'll be an hour. So I'm going to say 30 so that we end up at 45.
All right. Well, I probably need to be donezo. I am talking very loud in a hotel room in East Coast times at 9:30 at night, or 10:30 at night here. So I probably should be done. I'm being pretty loud. I just realized how loud I am and how thin these walls are. So
Jim indicated that we are in garage time and it's time to go. So as always, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Jacks.
Hi, Zena. Hi, honey.